This is so awesome, you guys. I just found this out while I was listening to Kevin O'Connor's podcast on Yahoo. Apparently, heaves, which is when you heave the ball from one side of the court to the other, usually with like a couple seconds left in the shot clock or right before the half is going to end or something like that, are now going to be allowed in Summer League in the sense that if it happens and you miss, which 95% of the time at least you will, it won't count as a personal stat against you, but will just count as a team stat. And the whole point here is to encourage more heaves because fans like them, they're fun, they create more exciting moments, last second buzzer winners, etc., and all that jazz. But it's really interesting because Peyton Pritchard, apparently from the Celtics, said last year that he thinks it's soft that NBA players don't actually do this more. A lot of them are worried about their stats, which of course make a difference to what their contracts are going to be. So that's really interesting. And I'm kind of like of two minds of this. Like, on the one hand, I do think it's kind of soft. I don't think you should give a fuck about what your stats are, and I think you should just play freely, because I think the best basketball comes from that, or the best anything comes from that. Art, basketball, anything, really, right? What else matters in this world? Other than art and basketball. But yeah, I mean, I just think that, like, that's the way that you do your best work, man. When you're not overthinking shit, when you're not sort of like putting sensors on yourself and you're just kind of playing, you're in the flow, right? On the other hand, making these sort of plays and kind of, making your stats sort of like be affected and kind of be worse as a result of your heaving, let's say, or your desire to heave, or your lack of heaving, right? If you're compelled to heave and you don't, and your stats are better because of that, and that makes a difference in how much money you make, I really do understand why players like stay away from it, right? Because their contracts depend on what their stats are a lot of the time. So like the logical side of my brain kind of gets it, but the artist side of my brain is kind of like, this is bullshit. Like, and I agree, I think, with Peyton Pritchard, who says it's soft, and I think what he means by that is like, players should be thinking about winning, about team winning. And if a heave can help your team win, then you should do it. And if you feel like a heave is going to, if you're thinking about your own stats and you're preventing yourself from actually heaving the ball across the court in fear that it might affect your contract, you're actually